What's up, everybody? Omar here. Another episode of Real With Omar. Special guest today, my boy James McLeod, the Vitiligo man.
Yeah, that
Vitiligo guy.
That Vitiligo guy. Yeah.
Vitiligo guy, and also known as Half from people that know him. Yeah. Welcome to the show, James. I know it was a quick intro, but we've been talking for about half an hour already, so we got to get to it.
We were, man. I appreciate you, man. It's an honor being here, too,
Absolutely.
man. It's a pleasure meeting you, man. We crossed paths, and now I'm here, man.
It's funny how that works, right?
History,
it's funny
man.
how that
the rest
works.
is history, man.
You put two movers in the same place, things start moving.
Absolutely. We talk about networking in these rooms. This is what you're supposed to do, man.
Absolutely.
Like-minded individual, bring value to each other, man, and that alignment just kind of, just right time and right place at the right time.
Makes it happen, man. Makes it happen.
No doubt.
So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, you're a speaker. You're an author, and we're gonna get to all that. You're a DJ also, but take it back in the beginning. Where are you coming from? Where did it start? What's the story start?
Man, the story really starts, man. I'm from Peekskill, New York, to be exact. You know, I grew up, you know, with a skin condition called vitiligo.
Okay.
And I come from the older generation of this condition where it really was kind of unknown. The only comparison was like Michael Jackson.
Right.
And it was one of those things, man, being a young brown boy of color, and my skin started to change at 18 months old.
At 18 months, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it's one of those things, man, that where the world didn't see me how my family seen me, or my parents, or my community in a way. And just growing up, navigating through that, just was kind of felt like weird, because I didn't see no one who looked like me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just was just curious after life after that. But then again, you know, my mom was just strong. Strong woman, you know, she just always told me I was special, I was unique, I was God's child, there was no one like me. And she just reminded me that every single day was when society tried to tell me I was different.
And she loved you.
Yeah, she
right?
loved me no matter what,
Number
man.
one, yeah.
And it was one of those things, I pretty much had my confidence early on because I knew who I was before the world told me who I was.
Okay.
And growing up, man, you know, my dad, you know, he was in and out of my life. Okay. You know, back in the 80s, it was a serious, like, crack academic, you know, so he was really absent from my life. He was here and there, and it's one of those things, he did his best to love us from a distance, but then again, he came around as much as he can to be a father. Right. And he saw me opposite, you know, he just thought that I was going to be angry at the world from all the teasing, you know, the kids asking me the questions what happened to me, because there was a lack of understanding back then. So,
right. And you're in Peekskill, which is predominantly, I mean, I know certain parts of it have African Americans and Latinos, but it's usually white. Right. So
yeah, it gave, not to cut you short, but it gave me that opportunity because it's very diverse too. So all my friends came from all walks of life. That was a beautiful thing, and it was a small community too. Right. At the time, probably like 18,000 people.
That's it.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. So I grew up with a lot of people. So my community always knew who I was. But then when I went outside of my community, like school and everything else, nobody just didn't have a clue what it was. So it's one of those things that really made me the person who I am today. And as we're going to get into that, but yeah.
When you were young, obviously there was, you know, a lot of people didn't know what it was, right? So did you get a lot of whispering in the rooms? I'm talking about like little kid. Like little kid, I could see that. And then we get to high school. Are you still in Peekskill?
Yeah, I'm still in Peekskill. Okay. So I got a lot of whispers in the room, especially from elementary school. Right. It's very interesting because I just shared this recently. Like, you know, back then, vitiligo was really unknown. We just kind of carried it as a birthmark. Right. We didn't find out that I had this condition until I was 5 years old.
Really? So they thought it was a birthmark?
No, they didn't think it was a birthmark. We just kind of called it was a birthmark. My doctor at the time, my mom just thought it was a tiny pimple. My vitiligo has repigment over the course of the years. Okay. When my vitiligo was really more predominant white on one side. It just kind of spread overnight. Okay. And my doctor at the time, he didn't really know. So my mom was trying to figure it out. So I turned about like 5 years old. She get a call from him and say, I got a dermatologist for you. So I went to the dermatologist. He assessed me with vitiligo. Okay. But then we went back to the community because nobody knew what vitiligo was. We just called it a birthmark. Any like birthmark stains or whatever, we just call it a birthmark.
Try to simplify it. Yeah, I got you.
And it was just a lot easier to explain without even over-explaining myself. Right. But, you know, school, I experienced like, you know, in kindergarten, like it separated me from my class because I was a distraction. Back then, you go to kindergarten, it's about 27 kiddos in one class. Yeah. So imagine being this little boy with a half a face. Right. Kids is always pointing, always questioning, maybe even crying because they just kind of scared because they don't understand it. Right. Because it's like to them, it's like, what is this? It's different. Yeah, absolutely. So they placed me in special ed.
Wow. Nothing to do with the capacity.
No. Yeah, they placed me in a special ed, smaller group setting. And then when I went to special ed, I was with, at the time, they didn't really call these kids nonverbal or spectrum. They, basically.
They couldn't identify it.
They would use the word retarded back then.
Right.
And it was like one of those things.
Hold on. guys, this is when we grew up, so it's a lot less sensitive.
Right,
just
right.
FYI for everybody.
Right.
Because that's how it was,
Yeah,
bro.
that was just back then.
Yeah.
But now that you hear the word nonverbals on the spectrum and stuff like that, but I could have placed them labels on myself. My mom just was working hard, single parent, trying to keep a roof over her head, so she didn't really have time to really take off her job to really kind of fight for me.
Yeah. And the hard part is, I mean, credit to you. We try to do all the alarms. Credit to you that you never that you knew who you were enough to stand strong and not allow, because these adults are telling you things. It could have been as a kid, like, yo, maybe I am. Right? That could have been the other way. And credit to you that you had a strong sense of self. I think that comes from your mom loving you enough where you're like, no, I'm good. I know this is not true, and I'm going to figure out what it is.
Absolutely. A big part of it, I had to come to terms with myself too, because I remember experience going to school, and it was just a short period of time. Kids would mock. I think about second grade. First to second grade, I remember I would go in the cafeteria, but I was always a happy kid at home. It was just them days where kids would mock and say mean things, and nothing too crazy. Like, who erased the other side of your face? You look like a cow, but words do hurt, right? So I would go home every single day as a little boy and put my head under the pillow. And then I realized one day, man, why I'm doing this all the time. And at the time, I might have not said them exact words, but I remember going back to school that very same day, with like the next day with a big smile on my face. And so I was like, man, how can I actually keep this smile going? So the perfect place was the cafeteria,
right,
where all the other grades was there. It was probably like kindergarten, first, second, maybe third the most.
Big mixture, yeah.
So it was all eyes on me. So I remember sitting at that lunch table, and I remember just smiling ear to ear, and that kid who made fun of me every single day, he said, man, why are you smiling so much today? I don't really have anything bad to say to you. I'm like, what? Like, in my mind. So I continued to smile. But I remember getting up from that lunch table, and what we did as kiddos, we get back in that formal line and go back to our classroom.
Line up, yeah.
And I remember getting a tap on my shoulder, and as I turned around, I said, why are you tapping me on my shoulder? He said, no one never smiled at me the way you smiled at me. And that very moment, I didn't really believe that. The bully who was making fun of me every single day, he was getting bullied at home every single day.
There you go.
And in that moment, that simple smile not only changed his life, but it changed my life for the rest of my life. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. So I just went home. I changed out of my school clothes. My mom had those rules. Those rules.
The good clothes and house clothes. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So I jumped on my bike, and I decided just to smile at random strangers that day, and hopefully they smile back at me. Cause I'm like, there's no way this bully just smiled,
Right.
And they did that. And to this day, I count how many smiles I got for the day.
That effect. Well, how old were you at that time?
I had to be like maybe 6 or 7.
That's crazy.
I was 6 or 7. And I just decided to smile at random strangers, and they smiled back at me. And to this day, I count how many smiles I get for the day.
That's awesome.
So
man.
I'm just a firm believer. I mean, smile and let your happy shine, man.
Yeah.
It's the prayer's energy, and man, a simple smile will change everything.
All right, not to hop around, but let's talk about the books, because obviously you take these books to different schools to discuss it, right? Because there are other people, other kids that might have some. It doesn't have to be vitiligo; it could be something else that they're struggling with. So, what's the message with the books?
So the book is, I just wrote something that I wish I had when I was younger.
Absolutely.
And my message is bigger than vitiligo. Vitiligo don't define who I am. I'm just someone who lived through experience with vitiligo. Right. And my mission in my life is just to help people see themselves differently. Vitiligo or not, one of those things a lot of people don't see themselves. I've been living with a visual difference my entire life. For those who don't know what vitiligo is an autoimmune condition that causes loss of pigmentation. It don't hurt, it don't wipe off, it's not contagious. My smile is contagious. Right. And it's just one of those things that I really wanted to write. I wanted to write a children's book where I can get into the elementary schools to work with kiddos. But this book is really geared towards a 3-year-old to a 103-year-old. It's a simple message.
For anybody.
This book don't even talk about vitiligo. It just talk about a monster that I thought that I seen in the mirror. And a lot of times when we look in the mirror, we fight our insecurities every single day. Right. We trying to fix ourselves. We trying to judge ourselves. But when I got to see what was on this other side, I knew there was no monster. I chased him away with 3 things: kindness, love, and bravery. I finally showed up for myself. Right. And I was like, man, I want to write something like that to help others. So it's just basically a simple message of just really what you see on the other side of the mirror.
There's a lot of people that struggle with self-image, right? I mean, we could talk about, different things. People deal with the eating disorders. Right. And now, I mean, all right, I'll give you one that I kind of see a lot of, like all the filters on social media. Like people are filtering their face to a point, you're like, why? What are you doing? Like, do you not like what you see? Right. So I don't know if it's a lack of self-love or rather a lack of confidence of What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, man, that's a great question because it's the inner work. It's the inner work. This is why my logo is the way it is. I didn't never put my pattern in it because it's always been the inside work.
Right.
And one of the things, too, it's not a confidence issue, it's an identity issue, right? A lot of people just don't really see themselves. They don't really know who they are. So my entire life, I put this mask on.
Right.
Not only that, I had a visual difference, but I was going on a mental health journey, too, not knowing who I was, wearing a mask, trying to fit in an environment that I grew up in. But every time I operated from the outside, I always got in trouble. Every time I approached it from the inside, everything worked out for me.
When did that epiphany come to you? Like, I mean, I know at 6 years old, you're smiling.
Right.
So now you're learning that you can affect the outside world.
Right. So 6 or 7, I would go in the mirror without even knowing it was affirmation. I would say the opposite what kids would say to me. I'm not a cow. I'm not a zebra.
Oh, wow.
No one erased the other side of my face. So that's just started to build up. Even though I was a happy kid, I was still going towards the wrong path, but I always started to see myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a mother that instilled that into me at a very early age.
Shout out to mom.
And then I had a lot of family too. My dad had 11 sisters, 2 brothers. We all kind of grew up together. Yeah, so a lot of aunts. My dad had a lot of sisters, 11 sisters and 2 brothers.
Oh, damn, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah,
okay.
So that, I had a lot of love around me too. So we was very close growing up. And when I started doing these affirmations, not knowing what affirmation at the time, man, it just started really bringing joy in my heart. And then, like I said, I grew up in a small, tight community. Once I started to build that confidence, it was just like one of those things. And around 11 years old, I got into DJ because my dad always made records.
At 11, that's wild.
At 11, that's how I got the name Half.
Okay.
And I just nicknamed myself DJ Half.
Okay.
So it kind of brought the awareness around my skills and my talent around DJ instead of saying, hey, what happened to your face? So that DJ Half came really early in my life.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, that's a crazy skill to develop at 11 years old, though. Yeah. I mean, did you have people that were DJing around you? Your pops?
My dad would DJ, but I didn't really get to see him DJ. Like, I just heard a lot of stories. And he's still alive. I heard like DJ Margo, they made records, they did things, and he had all the equipment. My dad was the first black man to clean
Not to cut you off, but isn't it dope? Because I have 3 sons. I have a 31-year-old, 25-year-old, and 22-year-old. When they hear stories about me from my friends, before you born, bro, they're like, nah, dad. So like for you to hear stories about your dad, isn't that crazy? Like, yo, this guy was a whole different person, right?
Yeah. And it's a beautiful feeling because a lot of what he did is like through him, what I'm doing, right? So they're like, yo, you remind me so much of your dad because my dad was actually a hard worker. He was the first black man to clean banks in the city of Peekskill. They gave him the key. They trusted him.
Wow. Okay.
So he had a lot of respect and everything else. But, due to the addiction and everything else, kind of like, derailed everything. But it is what it is. But, but I started to do these affirmations early, and then I got into DJ at the age of 11. Then I got my first piece of equipment. Like,
let me ask you a question. Where were you DJing at 11? Because you can't go to nightclubs. Don't tell me that.
No, I wasn't doing no nightclub, but I was just practicing in the house. But what I had the opportunity to do was all the rec center parties.
Okay.
At that age, my godfather ran the rec center in Peekskill. The canteen, everybody who knows that.
Peekskill is your spot.
Yeah, Peekskill is my spot, man.
Yeah.
I grew up in Terrytown till I was 5, but but we moved to Peekskill when my mom met my dad, and it's one of those things, man. I've been DJing for such a long time, and then I was able to DJ all the team parties, all the house parties, because that's what we did back then.
Right.
And then I would DJ in the basement, and then my mom.
Shout out to the 90s.
Yeah, shout out to the 90s. Yep, absolutely. And then my mom would throw parties. She knew I was really good. I would DJ from the basement, just have the speaker. I could participate in the party. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to do that, man, and just to kind of see it, and I involved with it. And then I was just in and out, man, with that, and I kind of didn't lose passion for it, but then my environment kind of sucked me into the street life at the age of 13,
That's young too, bro.
Yeah.
You accelerated. I thought I was accelerated. You accelerated at 13.
I kind of moved fast, man. I got involved selling drugs at the age of 13, which I'm not proud of, and it's one of those things. And I got caught with some, with a package, and I got placed on probation. And the probation, was for 3 years. And then I was just so wild. My mom put us on pen petition. Pen petition back then, you go through family court when your kids is acting up, and you be on it for 90 days. And if you violate the 90 days, they put you like in a residential placement,
like a Spofford.
Yeah, like not even like not as intense as Spofford, but back then it would be like maybe Children's Village, St. Christopher, Lincoln Watts, Lincoln Hall, like these little places with placement. Well, or they put you on the monitor. Like family court was really strict back then. But I was like, I was terrible in school. I didn't want to learn. I was distracted.
Right.
When I got into the streets and everything else, then I got placed in alternative school, which is like a behavior school, and then I was too wild for that. Then they shipped me to Children's Village as a day student.
Damn.
You know, so yeah. And I just slept all day. I would go make money on the block, go back, come back, drip. And it was crazy because we had like teachers' aides.
Right.
And they was like regular dudes that was on the, you know.
Yeah.
So they like, Shorty, you get money? Like, bro, how you wearing Coogee and
Shorty
basketball? Like,
Shorty
bro,
was
what
happening.
you do? Like, what are you doing? So, and they was a lot older than me. I was like, at the time, I was like 13, 14. They like 19 taking on these jobs and looking at me like, yo, bro, you that dude.
What are you doing?
And a lot of these cats was like from Mount Vernon, Yonkers, but they was more influenced by my lifestyle, and I didn't even really know who I was. I didn't really step into that yet 'cause I was so young.
Yeah.
And then I, I got caught up back in the streets, and then I ended up getting placed in detention center for 2 years.
Okay.
From the age of, I would say, 14, 15, 16. And then I had an opportunity. When I got out, you thought I would.
So this is like your high school years.
I actually got back out like 10th grade.
Yeah.
And then the Peace Corps High School actually accepted me.
Wow.
But it was just too much going on. I just ended up dropping out like mid-year.
Wow.
And then I went back into the streets, and then that was just my life. Just going in and out in the street in my community, just doing crazy stuff. I would have one foot in still in DJing, but you know, making the fast money.
But DJing was like a hobby because the other thing was making you money.
Right, it was making money. And then when I go to big time DJs, they'd be like, yo, Shorty, you making a lot of money. You think you want to do this? And I'm not going to even name some of these DJs because they like high level on their skills. Yeah, they high level on their skills. And I'm like, man, the best person who gave me the best advice was Kid Capri one time.
What did he say?
He's like, yo, Shorty, just keep going, bro.
Okay.
And I was from Westchester, but I always moved around. I was always curious. I would jump on a
You
train.
in the boroughs?
Yeah, I would jump on a train and go to Harlem. When Harlem was Harlem. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you get off that train,
when Harlem was Harlem.
When Harlem was Harlem, man. You know, all the Muslims out there, 5%ers and everything.
For you guys who didn't grow up in this decade, like this era, like you don't understand it, but New York was different.
Yeah, it was different.
Before Giuliani came in and she started cleaning it all up, it was rough.
It was different. It was definitely different, man, because Harlem was Harlem. I found my way to that. Capisco, the train station right there. I jumped on the train and got there. I was curious. And I would bring...
Did you know anybody at all or you just started traveling?
No, you know what it was? I met people during my journey because I started getting some little motion, making money. And I would find, like, I would go to Jimmy Jazz on 125th, and then I discover 145th and Broadway, and I go there and go to BJ's to get the sneakers and go get then I go to Harlem, USA, and I'll go get the Vansons and the Pelés, and I would bring it back up top. And nobody was really...
So they're like, what are you doing?
They wasn't even on that type of time. So a lot of times when I moved, everybody thought I just had that Harlem swag. And that, it was just like, so I just kind of was doing that for a while. And then when I got my driver's license, buying cars,
everything changed.
Doing certain things, started making money a little different, started moving a little different, and in that direction. And then that was just it for me. And then I end up getting locked up. After I dropped out of high school, it, finally caught up to me, and I ended up doing a lot of time in federal prison after that, And that's when my life really kind of changed, when I...
So what, I mean, obviously, look, whenever we get caught doing something, it gives us time to reflect, right? But what do you think, was it more self-generated, or did you meet somebody, be like, yo, James, this ain't the way? Because I've heard different stories from different people, man. The guys that are always in for life, they're like, yo, this ain't it, bro. Like, yo, get your shit out of here. Like, this is
it don't matter how much time you do, it's just not it. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was like a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
From that era we come from, right? Push up, pull up, dips, you come get your weight up. Nah, it was shit for me, man. I had state and a federal case too, man. So my case was kind of complicated as it was. A lot of people was dropping my name because they see where I was driving. I was out of town. I lived in the city for quite a while too. After I started to get some money and stuff like that, I kind of moved out of town. But dudes from the neighborhood would see me driving certain things. Dudes would get knocked off, and people don't know that game. That game don't play fair. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But I just thank God I'm on the other side. But what really changed me, man, I really got to see that person in the mirror. I was living.
Spend a lot of time with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I lived a very destructive lifestyle. I was overweight at the time, and the people who were surrounded by me didn't dare to say, "Yo, what's going on? Look at you," because they was attracted to that successful drug dealer. So they're not going to try to, you know what I'm saying?
They were just enabling you.
They just want to be around there. They want to be around there. And I didn't really hang out. I didn't have a really big clique, but I had a few people who just really didn't ever challenge me because I was just like that. And back then, they would glorify the successful drug dealer.
Yeah.
They would glorify the athlete, the rapper. That was the thing.
Well, let's break that down for a second. All right. So in those years where we come from, there was none of this. There was no access. Information is not the way it is now. There were so many obstacles for you and when I say you, I mean anybody who's trying to get out that situation, to get out. Like you really had to somebody had to put you on, or you had to go find and maybe be lucky and discover it. It was never like, let me go on the internet and research, or let me use ChatGPT and be like, how can I get rich? Like, what's the fastest way? And like, what I'm saying? That we didn't have any of that. So going back to what you were saying, like, the jump shot, crack rock, you know what I'm saying? That's all we had. And then, and then if you come in the neighborhood and you don't have anything, you don't see success. Like going back to what I'm saying on the phones, you can see what a Jeff Bezos looks like now.
Right.
Back in the day, you would hear about people, you would never see what they look like. Remember?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Newspapers, like maybe like the radio, and it wasn't like that. So this generation is very different, right? They can, I always say, if you can see it, you can believe it, you can achieve it, right?
Absolutely.
It's Napoleon Hill. But back then we couldn't see shit.
No.
Right? And there weren't people like making a lot of money and then doing the right thing. Right? So then that's what we had. We had, wow, this is our icon because here we are on food stamps, but this guy's driving a nice car. This guy has this guy could buy whatever he wants. And we waiting for my mom's waiting for the check. Right? So so just to give a little flesh out to that, because some people be like, oh, don't glorify that. It's not about glorifying it. You have to understand where we come from.
Right.
You have to understand what we were around. Right. And then the fact that we had no information, we were kind of stuck. I mean, the fact that you were traveling everywhere, you were grabbing information.
Right. And that's the crazy thing. I got inspired by that, and the thing is, sometimes, I always was raised to be a good person, but I probably took the wrong path. But when I got to prison, that's when prison changed me, made me the person who I am today. And people was like, why? I'm like, bro, like that gave me a reset. Yeah. Because I didn't think I was gonna make it to the age that I am now. I thought I was gonna be dead or in jail for the rest of my life.
Can we
at
talk
the age
about
of 40,
that?
man.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing that I get not only a second chance, because I ran into some incidents in the streets, but like at the end of the day, I got more than one chance, more than a second chance, more than a third chance. And then to come back on the other side bigger than better, like this is amazing. Now I'm able to like help others see themselves differently too as well, and one of the things like people don't understand, like re-entry is not easy. Being a high school dropout, a convicted felon, don't even have a skill or trade because you're never taught that.
Right, you never had time to go to school for that. Yeah.
So your environment you just adapted to what only thing you know. So it was kind of scary getting released from federal prison.
You know what you were gonna do.
I didn't know what was the next move, and I didn't really get my first job to the age of 29.
Wow. Okay. So when did you come out of prison? What year?
At 2012.
Okay. How old were you?
I was about, I think 29. I was 29.
So 29. So then boom, they're like, all right, and you're like, yo, I gotta figure out.
29, and it was like one of those things. You got supervised release. They on you.
Right. They want to make sure you're employed.
They remind you who you like. We knew who you were, especially if you were someone really out there. You're very distinguished. Right. This time it ain't gonna be so sweet. We're gonna make sure you get 20 and better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things. When you hear that,
out of it.
Either you kind of like. So a lot of times that's what dudes do. And a lot of times, like for me, it was like it didn't really matter how I look, because a lot of times I was masking up just to kind of fit in for the materialistic things, to try to, get the car, get the pretty girl and everything else. And that's what I was wearing, a mask. And I finally got to take that mask off when I got to prison. Right. I really got to see who I really was. And prison wasn't really for me, because I would just lay in my bunk all day, but it was mandatory to get a job or you get written up. And cats would tell me, one dude from the Bronx, man, my guy Haas, he was like, yo, man, get off that bunk, man. Let's get moving around in the yard and blah, blah, blah. When I got designated to start doing my time, that's when it really kind of hit me. When I was fighting my case, it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but when I got designated,
really
so it's just like, man, this ain't for me, man. Right. But, and meaning like, this is not for everybody. It wasn't for me. Not saying I wasn't built for it. Right. I could do my time, but
it's just saying
who wants to sit in there?
Listen, no offense when I say this, but it's not for anybody. No. Like we fuck up, yeah. And I'm not saying like, I'm just saying who should be in a fucking cage, right? Whatever. Like, I mean, there's certain people that are like killers and shit like that, but that's wrong. We putting humans in cages, right? That's tough.
It can be very disalarming. Like where in a way where I said it's not for me, it's just like, man, who wants to be here, right? So it's like one of those, I got so much more to life.
Yeah. So at least you had that awareness.
That was just my awareness. I wasn't, in no disrespect. I didn't want to be on gang time. I didn't want to gamble. Right. I wanted to learn. I wanted to earn, and I wanted to be a good person when I got back out into society. So I met this brother named Rick, and we talk to this day, man. And he's a lot older than me. He was a self-surrender. Came in. He was like, yo, man, like, and we just started working out. I came into prison at 215 pounds. Oh, you big. I was drinking. I was eating every single day. I living a very destructive lifestyle, man. Like, it was different.
You live in Biggie lifestyle.
Yeah, it was different, man. And I didn't even see myself. And like I told you, nobody never even dared to say, yo, what's going on? So
you can't mess with the money, bro. You can't mess with the money. Let my man run because he got the money. Yeah.
So I got in there, man. We just started working out every single day because we had like a Gold's gym there. It was like almost a lifetime in
there. They had everything.
Yeah, open 5 in the morning. You had access to it long if you wasn't working. I had an easy job. I was yard detail. I lucked out because when I first got on the compound, I walked the yard. Guy was going home.
Right.
A lot of cats don't tell people when they go home, you want this job, shorty?
Really? Okay.
They gave me the yard detail job. So I took that. So I just take out the garbage, and I could go back and hang out in a unit all day.
Okay.
You know, and that ain't paying nothing. It's 10 cents a month. Come on, man. Like 10 cents a week.
It keeps you busy.
Kept you busy. So but a lot of things, like if I can work as hard as that, why not come back out here and apply the same energy back to that?
If you work as hard as that for 10 cents an hour,
right.
Now you have no cap on what you can make. Yeah, you out here. Yeah.
You know, so that was it, man. I just got around the right people, and you know, people look at people who go to prison as horrible individuals. I met some of the best people in my life. Mm-hmm. Some of the best relationships and friendships that I had to this day was through prison.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah, that's like you know, it's one of those things you do, man. You apply. You know, a lot of times people do things because it's just what it is. You know, what I'm saying, just environment. But a lot of times people just got good hearts, man. Mm-hmm. Like. You know, and people deserve second chances at life. And for a while, I wouldn't tell people I went to prison. You know, when I got my first job, you know, it wasn't easy for me. It was like a bumpy road. When I got out, man, I was reminded, man, you went from Bentley to being on a public bus. You know what I'm saying? Or you went from that, all these different things. And a lot of time when I went back to my environment, people always used to remind me who I used to be instead of trying to show me where I need to be. And the problem was, I didn't have this growth that I have now. Mm-hmm. They don't even know where to go. So how I respect them to tell me where to go.
You had to change your proximity. You had to change your environment. So what did you end up doing when you like? I mean, going back to the old hood, like I tell friends of mine all the time. I'll go to the hood, say what's up to you, but ain't nothing for me here. This ain't me no more. Like it's just not. And no offense, just we struggle to get out of here. Right. So coming to visit, maybe giving back to the kids, whatever. That's cool, but there's nothing for me out here.
Absolutely.
So like. What when you went back and they're telling you that where were you able to go? What were you able to access?
I had to sacrifice. And I mean, I had to sacrifice cutting a lot of friends off, not being reminded who I used to be and grind it out because I was still on supervised release. I was paroled to my mom's house. I lived on my mom's couch. Right. So I worked Panera Bread, and that kind of helped me in so many different ways. Even though I applied to other jobs, very low entry jobs, which, you know, ShopRite, Walmart, they didn't hire me before I even went to Panera Bread. Right. They hired me, and that's when I seen the best version of who I always was, that my mom instilled into me. I was really good with people. I was really friendly. I was kind to everyone I meet, and I kind of created a whole new system at Panera Bread that even the GM and the manager didn't even really understand it.
Really?
Yeah, it was just next level, and I would get reviews. 25 reviews every week. I created my own system. They took me off the sandwich line and said, man, and the person who owned the Panera, because this was a new franchise that kind of rolled out in 2012.
It had just come out, right?
It just come out. I just kind of stumbled across it. Me and my brother was going to get a sandwich, and I wasn't familiar with filling out an application online. I remember they just give you so everything started to change.
Yeah.
And this is like the tip of like social media just kind of rolled out. Instagram at the time, 2012 and everything. I wasn't familiar with none of that stuff, so I was like, man. I had my sister fill out the application for me.
Right.
I ended up getting a job, got the interview, boom, boom, boom. They was okay, because then you have a supervisor, too, who checks on you, too, from when you're on supervised release. That has to make sure you're at work sometimes,
you actually have a job.
So I had to tell them that.
Right.
So they was okay with that. Then I just seen my work after it was crazy, and they just didn't understand that.
How that happened. Like, how are you in the situation, right?
Right, and they just seen the hunger. So, you know, what happened, they would kind of, like, not give me the credit that I want, like when they have these, like, awards every month, like, promoting people,
right? You get overlooked.
They overlook me, right. And then I was started getting job offers from when I was
other places.
When I was working the floor. They're like, "What are you doing here?
Really?
Like you should be in customer service." And my story was, man, I'm just back up here helping my mother out. You know, she just I just made anything. Right. I didn't want Bank of America, be a manager, Apple, be a man, like, you know, all these. And then this guy came and he prospected me, Hector. He's like, yo, man, you ever thought about being an area manager for White Plains Linen? I always used to see this company in my town all the time. Never
the
thought
trucks, right?
Yeah,
the trucks,
I never thought in a million years I'd be working for White Plains Linen.
Right.
But it kind of made sense because it was 4 days, 3 days off.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I can get back into DJing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Give me some time.
Yes, I stuck at Panera Bread for like 10 months, and I said, let me weigh my option. I pounded on it for a while. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take that opportunity. Not only I'm going to take the opportunity, I'm going to see how can I network with the opportunity, because I know they do heavy deliveries throughout the tri-state.
Everywhere, yeah.
So now I can get in a restaurant, I can kind of get my name, and I kind of looked at it.
Drop my flyers off?
Yeah, I thought of that bigger picture, too. Yeah. It didn't happen that way, but it didn't eventually started to happen that way. But when I told Panera I was leaving, put my 2 weeks notice in, the heads up came in. and was like, James, what can we do to...
What you mean you leaving?
Yeah. So they said, we'll give you our manager salary. And I remember to this day, the GM looked at him like, why he's going to get the manager salary?
Right. Because we need to keep him.
And once she said that, it kind of just put something like, yo, just exit out, man.
Really?
And that's when I did that, because I knew it wasn't going to work out for me if I was getting manager salary just as a regular employee.
Right.
Just for hard work and dedication, just show me the value within myself and my work before I even thought about it. I took that situation.
So you got a little validated right there. You're like, all right, so I got something.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And, and that just showed for hard work and dedication, just me showing up as who I was. It didn't really have anything of what of the way I look or anything. It's just all about how you present yourself, how you show up, and how you treat others, no matter what.
You say that a lot on social media, and I want to talk about it too, because we, like I'm in a different field. I'm in lending and real estate, and people talk about and the attrition rate in my industry is big. Like 90% of people don't make it, right? So they'll be like, oh, how do you do this? And I'm like, yo, first you got to show up, right? And I said, but that's your minimum. That's like your minimum wage entry, just being there.
Right.
Now, when you're there, what are you doing, right? Because it's a commission-based job. You have to network. You have to provide value to people with no compensation in the beginning. You have to show that people have to feel that you're responsible or professional enough to represent. Like, it's a thing.
Right.
And I tell them that, so you have to build your value, right? Jim Rohn. I listen to Jim Rohn all the time. You have to build your value. The market will pay you for your value, but people don't understand. Like, they were like, well, I was here. I was like, yeah, but what'd you do here? Right? It's even like when I have employees. Like, they're like, yo, I showed up every day. Like, yo, I was like, but you made no phone calls. Like, you didn't. You played on Instagram all day, or like are you doing outreach? Like, I was breaking it down. Are you doing outreach? Are you doing this? And the thing is, for our people, especially our culture, like I feel that sometimes they might glamorize or see somebody who appears to be doing really well or whatever, and they feel like they deserve that. And you know what? Everybody deserves what they earn. Absolutely. Nobody deserves it just for showing up. So that'd be like, not saying that you say anything wrong. I love what you're saying, but I also want people to understand it's not just showing up, right?
Absolutely,
we got to show up and do something,
absolutely,
right? So, sometimes we have to clarify it, right?
You hit it on the nail, because at the end of the day, I always tell people this: you only see my glory, but you don't know my story.
Right. Okay.
I mean, a lot of the times I follow up with family that came in. I remember names.
Right.
Like, that takes work and hard dedication. A lot of times we overlook that.
Yeah.
Panera was in a restaurant. I take trades from the table. Are you finished? And bust them. It got to the point where I was making $300 in tips every 2 days.
Wow.
Doing that.
You
But
hustling at Panera.
that was the thing. Like, and they would give it to me, the money quietly.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
course.
here,
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm
you.
saying? So it was just one of those things. Like,
Well, you were providing experience.
yeah, and that's the thing. And I didn't even really look at it as that. So I was like, as I stepped onto the next job, I took that and kind of applied that same model.
Yeah.
Even though I was promising like a manager job, but I ended up was a helper, and then I said, I'm not gonna be a helper. I might as well start driving the trucks.
Right.
And I started doing that.
Okay.
And eventually, I kind of I did that for like 4.5 years, and I realized that this wasn't my life. At the time, one of my close friends was like, man, you need to get out of here. I was doing training too.
You were training people?
I was training on the side. I got my certification.
Oh, you mean personal training?
Personal training. So
Okay,
I got, I changed my whole
physique
and everything. So I was like, man, I want to help people the same way.
Okay.
At the time, when I was in federal prison, they was offering that ISA.
ISSA?
Yeah, for a discount.
Yeah.
I think it was like $200 at the time. That was like before NASM and all these other programs.
Yeah.
ISA was there. So I didn't get it there, but outside when I got out, I ended up just taking it. Like 2013, I passed it. So I've been having that certification since 2013. I renew it every 2 years, and I've been in the fitness space for like 10 plus years.
So you're in the fitness space too?
Yeah,
okay.
I've been in this space for 10 plus years.
Okay.
So I'm an author, speaker, and then I've been in the space. I shape minds, I shape bodies. I can't shape your body if I can't help you here.
Right.
That's been always my philosophy.
Yeah.
But
you got a good way of putting words together.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody ever said that.
But that's the thing, because that's just my approach. I can't, like, when I look at the fitness industry, it's always has been superficial. It's always been muscle and abs.
Right.
I didn't get here with muscle and abs.
Right.
For me, it's always been consistency over perfection. And if I can help people here, because this is the body don't really mean
this
nothing.
will unlock this.
Right, absolutely. Because the more you get fit, the more you're going to want more. But if you have the self-discipline, knowing that, man, listen, just keep going no matter what. Create it as a lifestyle. And I approach fitness from the inside out. Anything that I do, because that's just been my entire life.
Right. That's how you approach yourself.
Yeah, just inside out. I just knew I had to do the inside work no matter what. It's just one of those things, and that's how I approach fitness. And I've just been continue to do it. I still do it to this day. And when I left White Plains Linen, I actually went into a private gym. Started working in a private gym for a while.
So you segued from White Plains Linen to now you became a trainer.
I became a trainer,
full-time.
a full-time trainer.
Okay.
But when I was in White Plains Linen, I was doing training on the side.
Right.
And then I just went full-time. I went into a training space in Rye. At the time, it was called Rye Brook Personal Training Center. It was a little private boutique. Right. They didn't have no clients there. You had to go prospect clients.
You had to get your clients and use that space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in the community. So at the time,
well, the community's decent. They got a couple dollars
so
over there.
It was interesting because I lucked out because I had my personality. I just took my skills from all my other jobs and just sharpened it a little bit.
You applied them.
And I applied them. And people just thought, yo, are you a Soul Cycle instructor? Because Soul Cycle was right there. There was another place called Rip Fitness there. So a lot of the trainers who trained there, they was a little like, man, who's this guy, man?
Yeah. He's taking all
I would
the
prospect,
clients.
and then the guy hired consultants to kind of like close the deals and everything else. Right. I helped build that up a little bit. And then it wasn't really the vibe for me.
Okay.
Then I ended up just going to the New York Sports Club.
Okay.
I went on a couple of interviews. Before New York Sports Club, I went to Equinox. I didn't get the job. I just didn't have the higher education to hire someone. They big on education to hire someone with a BA or whatever.
Okay.
And then I ended up going on an interview for the sports club for White Plains and then Dallas Ferry. I got both jobs. And then I ended up choosing Dallas Ferry. They just had a better turnover for trainer rate.
Okay.
I went there, man, and I never looked back. I went there, got hired. Within 6 months, I built my business to 198 sessions a month.
How much is that per hour?
So at the time, they had a different structure. They had PTM, PTM 4, PTM 8, and then 12. So they got a cut.
You were busy, bro.
They got cut. So I was doing 8, 12. I was doing 8, 12 clients a day there.
That's crazy.
So I realized they wasn't coming.
That's an hour each.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm breaking it down for people.
So I didn't realize my clients wasn't coming for the sports club no more. They're coming for me.
Right.
And then I started getting a lot of riffraff. You have top trainers there that have been there 14, 15 years, wasn't even productive.
The hate was coming? The hate was coming?
Oh, man. I heard it all, man. I heard it all. And eventually, I exited out with them. I learned the business. I learned how to prospect, how to follow up, because that it's corporate, so they really big on just numbers and projection and retention.
Right.
I learned that all on my own. I was in the streets almost my entire life.
But you know what? Listen, I'm not going to glamorize it, but all these things apply to the streets as well.
Yeah.
So like, if you take those over here, you're like, yo, I did this already. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always tell people, man, I went from selling dope to giving hope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things. And I don't glorify. I give God all the glory. He just had greater plans for my life. You know what I'm saying? But, it's one of those things. And as I started to build that, I was like, man, this is different. So I told my clients I'm going to exit out, and I was going to open up my own gym in Dallas Ferry.
That was the plan.
A private studio. But at the time, then I released my book. I released this book.
So you were working on this during all that time?
Yeah. So I told my friend, I'm like, I was doing public speaking, but I just got tired of like going into like the boroughs, speaking the same language about prison. I really wanted to break them chains.
Right.
I really
you didn't want to talk about that anymore.
Right. I really wanted to kind of talk about where it really started, the identity, the self-love, the lack of confidence, the lack of belief, not believing in myself, mastering myself, to go into the streets to do all these different things, you know what I'm saying, that I'm not proud of.
And not knowing who you really were.
And who I really was. So I was like, let me write the book, Boy Behind the Face, because I felt like, man, my message was just a little bit more bigger. And then I was just really kind of like, and I didn't want to put myself in a box. How I see myself, I see myself from the world. Because when I grew up in Peace, I had all my friends came from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I see myself as a world. And when I was a little boy, when I felt like I was left out, isolated, I just nicknamed my other side another name, like Jack or something.
Really?
So I would like do that and do things like that. Because I was just like, man, if kids don't see me, I'm going to see myself on the other side. So I just nicknamed him, because on the other side of my face was picture white growing up.
Right.
So it was one of those things. I always could continue to use my imagination no matter what. And when I wrote this book, I was like, man, I don't want to be able. I want to be more than for the culture.
Yeah.
I want to be for everybody. So even though vitiligo has its recognition in its own, I was like, man, how can I make this more like a visual thing?
Yeah.
Inside and out,
it's deeper.
inside and out. Because a lot of
deeper.
people who might be in the room who might not have this condition might be suffering in silence.
Absolutely.
And the thing is,
dealing with something different.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I had this thing where my presence, I always been confident. I always knew who I was, even though the world was trying to distract me. But I accepted myself before the world. And it was one of those things, man, how can I actually get others to see themselves?
Yeah.
And a lot of times I go in rooms and people just say, thank you. And I'm like, why are you thanking me for? They're like, man, just being you.
You affected them?
Yeah, just in a way, with just a smile, just a happy Monday or a happy Tuesday.
Bro? Yeah.
And one of those things, I just always just been positive, man. And it's one of those, and when I think about it, people are like, why are you always extraordinary, man? Because I did the extraordinary work when nobody was watching.
Yeah.
It just became
what you do in the dark.
Sustainable, and I can cultivate it at a high level.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things when people are like, man, you got a different outlook on life. Like, did you get laid or are you drinking a cup of coffee? No, it's just who I am. People just have ways of looking at it, right? Yeah, it's just one of these things. People like, man,
they don't understand.
Could I
right?
be on a coffee line and it's like over explaining myself? No, I just tell people I just adjusted my attitude.
Right.
I just adjusted my attitude for the day. Even though I'm doing the real work every single day. But when I wrote this book, I just like, man, I want to really help people see themselves. So when I go to schools, I'm doing presentations. I just have kids or adults tap on this one side of my face, and I say, hey, I might can't change your heart, I might can't change your mind, but I need you to look at me closely, because there was a time when I didn't like when people stare at me, and now I love when all the attention's on me, and I need you to just lock in on me and find your skin tone with their minds, and when you do, just know we all the same.
Right.
I'm no different than you, because like this is not my greatest gift.
Yeah.
It's how I see myself every single day, and it's how you see yourself, and how you see yourself is how you be yourself.
Your self-image, absolutely, self-worth. All those things are so big because how we identify ourselves is kind of how we bring our value to the world, right? And if we don't feel valuable, then we're gonna, this opens up another fucking thread into this conversation where, like, you can be in a bad relationship, you can be in whether it's work, personal, like, like, and when I say relationship, I don't just mean like one thing. I mean, be anything. Bad friendships. Yeah. Like, you be around people that you shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't even be. Yep. We shouldn't be having these conversations. This guy's not good for you, or girl's not good for you, but you there, and you kind of like,
That's a fact.
And that's the part, right? So it becomes, going back to, you said something earlier, and I want to identify with it, and also I agree with it. Different friends of mine have different opinions, and they'll be like, yo, you changed. I'm like, well, I don't work hard to stay the same, brother. I was like, and I said, and I say this with all the respect in the world. Be happy. If this is what makes you happy, I'm happy for you. That's not for me, right? I'm gonna go be happy, whatever I'm doing. Like, and again, not to minimize you, but I gotta find my truth, because the truth of the matter is, we only have a short time on the planet, right? So by the time it's over, either you found your happiness or game over. Ain't no replay, So I feel that making that statement and talking to you about it, I think people should know that, because some people are waiting. They're waiting for like permission to do something, like whatever it is, to change, to to lose weight, to get smarter, to get change jobs. They're like, yo, don't wait for permission, man. Go for it. Go for it now, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
And that's the thing, man. That's why I always say we get to do it again. And my message is real repetitive, because it's one of those things. It's just a reminder. And I know I'm in a lane where it's not the most attractive conversation. People run from this type of message when it comes to self-image, self-love. Especially on social media. We just talked about people too busy fixing themselves, judging themselves, not seeing themselves, putting filters on
adjusting themselves.
And when they see someone like myself, like, hey, look at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not covering nothing, right? So it's like a smack in the face. It's like, man, I'm running from that guy. There's some people I see offline, they see me, they go the other way.
Really?
They know I'm positive. They know I'm on, or they just not. A lot of times it's just a smack in the face, because it's a reminder. It's a reminder, like, man, this is what I'm doing. And so it's like almost I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that, and I continue to do that, because the people who was in that lane, they quit because they worry about what people think of them. I don't care what people think about me, because everybody wants to be different until different costs you your acceptance, your cool card. We just talked about your friends. Like, why you change? You got to kill that old version of who you are.
Yeah, you have to grow.
If you ain't gonna do it, no one else is gonna do it for you.
You gotta grow.
And I realized the most simple things in life is the hardest things to do. Which goes back to starting with you.
They're simple, but they're hard.
Yeah. It starts with you. You know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to do that work.
Yeah. The fact that you said that people go away from you, I think. When I met you, it was very quick, and I believe in energy. I'm like, oh, the kid seems like a cool kid. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit him on social. I'm gonna follow up later. But I mean, I'm there. I'm meeting hundreds of people, whatever. And like that to me, your energy introduces you before you say words, right? And people understand that. They're like, oh, why he's not getting back to me? I was like, yo, bro, because all you doing is asking for stuff. Like I have that too. Like people, they see you have a certain type of success. The quick question, I'm like, but I don't even know you, bro. Like why do you feel entitled to ask for that? You know what I mean? And I've had that conversation. I'm like, and I listen to it, and then I try to explain it. I think the younger generations are a little different than us, because we came from nothing. Right. So we know what it takes to get somewhere.
Absolutely.
Right. But the guys that, I don't know if they don't have anything. I just feel there's a little bit of entitlement.
It's just they're not having the proper etiquette and the skill set, because everything's just handed to them, streamlined to them, right? So we come from where we had to either we're going to survive or not, or you wasn't just going to get that breakthrough. Now it's just everything's handed to them, so it's like a lack of effort, are not really putting the work in because everything's right in front of them. So they feel like they want to be someone. They feel like they're entitled to be someone.
They feel like they should be somebody, right?
Because
And they are. They are.
Yeah, and you are. Everybody, if you actually recognize that power, it's a different when you recognize that power. But if you recognize that power where you're not putting no work in, you're expecting the promise instead of doing the work and respecting that process. That's the problem. A lot of people want to skip the line, instant gratification, self-validation really quickly because social media allows that.
But let me add to what you're saying. Can we just tell people that the self-validation comes from the work?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you can't tell me nothing because I know who I am, right? But it comes from the journey, right?
Absolutely,
the journey, the adversity, the resilience that you have to develop to get the no's, to come out of prison and getting not like real basic bottom jobs telling you no. And you feel like I ain't worth shit. Like, damn, I can't even go to work shop right? Like, but you keep going, right? But you keep going. That's the difference in the story.
Right.
Some people stop. That's it. It's the end of my story.
A lot of people stop and quit.
Yeah.
It's just like ideas, right? When I think about me, I've been multifaceted as an entrepreneur for the last 10 plus years. Successful, I don't really kind of talk about, but like my thing is my ownership it's all about ownership for me. The books is ownership. My message, my brand, everything is ownership, IP, trademark, and all these different things. I don't just do it for me. I do it for us because at the end of the day, I'm on a mission to help people see themselves differently. And we just talk about different departments. It don't matter what area in your life you're struggling. I want you to see me. I want you to see me, you through me. And if you don't, I just want you to be inspired by the energy and just being resilient, being relentless, being persistent, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You could be sucked in all different departments in your life, and people just bringing all these old versions of who you are. But if you don't really work, it all comes back to doing the work.
Yes. I mean, one of the reasons I document certain things in my stories, I do that a lot. It's not because I have to fucking be online all the time. It's not that, but sometimes, like, I've had friends of mine hit me up. Yo, I didn't see you at 4 a.m. today. I'm like, what? I didn't see you on the story. Right. So that's a way that you kind of communicate with your tribe because, believe it or not, your actions are inspiring somebody in some way, shape, or form. Inadvertently. So show up, right? Go and show up.
Absolutely.
Show up, take it up next notch. But I've had that conversation. Yo, you weren't working out today? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I didn't see it. I was like, oh, okay. So now it became that. It became so now it's almost like an accountability check-in right now, which is pretty cool for the people that are looking for inspiration.
Right, absolutely. And a lot of people just don't have that level of vulnerability, so they kind of look in and within and say, man, you're doing this. And I got so many people I don't even know who's on my stories like, yo, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, like, just for showing up, because a lot of times people just don't know how.
Right.
And a lot of times,
they don't know where to start.
They don't know where to start. Yeah. So a lot of times and especially if we using social media for the right things and the right tools, and we on it for inspiration, motivation, and doing empowerment or whatever, and we
fill in the cup.
We embodying this stuff.
Absolutely.
People are looking for that, and that's your way of building your community. I can be on social media doing all the wrong things. I live a really pretty good damn life. So for me, I could just show the opposite.
Right.
The partying and everything else. So I just rather show the work that I'm doing because my mission is my legacy. It's very important to me, and I try to do my best to be intentional and manifest all these different things, but show it through a lens where people can be like, man.
Yeah.
Because there's someone who's probably like, man, this is weird, this is corny, but at the end of the day, man, it gives them permission to start doing the same thing too as well.
Yeah.
No matter what choice.
I'm a big believer in representation.
Right.
What I mean by that is that people that look like us, I mean, you obviously are much more distinct than I am, right, with the vitiligo, but like even Spanish guys, black guys, like there's not a lot of us talking that positive money talk in a positive way. Not just, yo, I got the Lambo out. Like, no. But how do we get that? Or how do we own shit? Like giving education. And I think when I grew, I became almost like an embodiment of that, because as a child, I never had anybody to look up to.
Right.
My pops had substance abuse issues also. He's a Vietnam vet. Nobody was an owner. When I was growing up, we weren't. I became a homeowner at 24, my mom, because I told her, yo, we're buying a house. And she was like, all right, well, go ahead. Make it happen. Like, she was like, I don't know. But, like, I didn't have anybody. So when social media started becoming a big thing, I decided that having intelligent conversations with people that look like me or not like me, and having that online instead of just, and it's not a shot, because every lane has a place, right? Like Drink Champs is cool if all I want to do is talk about stupid rap shit. No offense, like that's just a lifestyle. That's cool. But what about people that are trying to grow?
Right.
What about people that struggle with some sort of confidence issues, and they're like, yo, it's just not me. Like, okay, now there's like there's a bondage in suffering together where they're like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. Now, okay, so if he did it, right? And, like maybe I could do it. Like it becomes that. Like we change one life. Right. That's the whole goal. The goal is to change one person. If we change one person for the better, we won.
Right.
Right? So that to me, representation is really big. I've always believed in that. I still think we don't have enough of it. Right. And that's why I still do my little show. And to me, like podcasting now has been a way for me to kind of hang out with interesting people. That's what it is to me. Like before, like on the block, I don't do that no more. I'm working, right? So I'm like, yo, I think I'd have a good conversation with this guy. Let's get him on here. Like and grow and build and help and collaborate. That's the goal. And I just wanted to say that because I feel that some people, and there's a place for everybody. I love everybody. But sometimes they want to be on the show and I'm like, what do you want to talk about?
Right.
And I'm like, we're not doing that. I'm not talking about, certain things. That's just not me.
Well, we live in that time now where people just feel like they entitled to be seen, or it's clickbait, or how can I actually get traction from his followers to kind of streamline that. But this is not a little show, like you said. This is a big show, man. This is important. This is important stuff that we actually talking about. Yeah. And, it's one of those things, man, when we can have real teleconversation like this as men, it just kind of opened up other doors for men. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is big. This is huge, man. This is important work that gets overlooked sometimes. Yeah. And that's why I said sometimes we might not be speaking about the most attractive thing, but who cares? But this is a conversation that needs to start. Because this is how we got to change that narrative of thing to get other men to be like, you know what? All right, they talking about something I really want to hear, but I couldn't find that space or that community.
It's the real conversation that most of them are avoiding because they don't have a safe space to speak about it. Right, that's really it.
Because guys, is where you create this.
Because guys feel guarded. They're like, nah, man, I'm not talking about that. I'm like, yo, you can talk about whatever, man. It don't matter. And it doesn't make you less masculine. It just, it is what it is, man. Like, yo, man, imposter syndrome. Right. That's a real thing. When I first started coming up, I was like, well, my house, the house I live in now, and I'm going up the block to this place, and Joe Torre's there, like from the Yankees. I'm like, nobody looks like me. Right. It's all this. I'm like, for a minute I was like, do I belong here? I was like, but then my man was like, yo, you bought it. He's like, nobody gave it to you. He's like, you put the money down, you got the mortgage. Right. Yeah, you belong there. And then the funny thing is, then a couple of years later, same conversation with a good friend of mine. He's moving up. He makes a lot of, he makes good money, decent money. And he's like, yo, he's buying a lake house. And he's like, they're going to see me. I was like, first of all, you're half Asian, so you're fine. He's half Asian, half Puerto Rican. But I was like, yo, you belong here. You bought, like, what somebody told me, I passed forward. I was like, you belong here, you bought it. Right. Nobody, you probably belong here more than people that inherited the places. Because I was like, you earned it, you put the money in, and you're here.
You're probably appreciate it a lot more,
and
too.
He needed that. He needed that. And that's the thing that you don't understand. Like, we break down new frontiers, and then for a second we're like, did I do the right thing? Like you don't know, and then the brother who's gotten a little farther ahead has to look at you and say, you good, keep going back to Kick Capri with you, right, keep going, right, yeah. Keep going, yeah.
It's interesting you said that because that's important too, man. Because a lot of times when you get into certain rooms, you feel like you don't belong, and then all along you belong. I talk a lot about that, just being in different rooms, and you don't have to switch codes, you don't have to change. You just got to just show up as who you are. And a lot of times, we think certain things is bigger than us, right? And it's not. Right. You deserve everything, especially if you worked hard to get it, right? So you deserve it. But ideally, how the world is painted, when you get there, you're like, man, what's going on? I don't see too many of us look in this neighborhood. Representation. Yeah. And that's just huge. That's just why I continue to do the work that I do. Now, and I model here and there. I'm with an agency in London for like 3 years.
My man's everywhere. My man's moving.
And just go back to when you say representation. For years, higher fashion would say, wow, your skin is striking its end, because there's a model, Winnie Harlow, who have the recognition of vitiligo, right? Yeah. But over the course of years, I'm smart enough to see that the industry is still selective when it comes to inclusivity, right? So there are millions of people who live with this condition. They said it's 7 million, but I did my research. It's about 33 million worldwide. Here in the States, it's 1.9 to 2 million. Wow. And I'm like, where are you? Where are they?
Yeah, right? I don't see anybody.
And it's one of those things. I seen Winnie, and I love Winnie. She's doing amazing things. But I said, you know what? For a long time, I said, why be a model? Why I can be a role model? And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bridge the gap. So I started trusting this agency, started working with them. And it still has some stagnant. It's changing. It's shifting. And then I haven't seen them create more Winnies. Right. She's at the staple of her career. She's the one. And she's the only one. This is how it's always been.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly
like, where's the male version at?
Yeah, back in the days, remember, they could only be one really popping black actor at the time.
Right.
You can't do that.
So when I see that, I'm like, now I encourage and inspire other people. Create where you at. This is why I created the books. This is why I created that Vitiligo Guy, the message. It's bigger than just being in one box, not to knock it, but that's just not, I'm more than that.
Yes.
So when I realized and see my worth, because most of that population of vitiligo, the 85% is looking for treatment, and vitiligo always been science and theory. I mean, it's treatable, but it's not curable. I mean, some people got their pigment back and everything else, but then it's the other percentage is saying, because with social media, wow, you're striking. You should be a model. Now, most people who don't understand the educational side about vitiligo, they're like, instantly they think you should be a model. 9 out of 10, people don't understand these castings and these rejections. You get in maybe 1,000 no before you get one yes. And then when you go home, because you're so adapted to the likes, the follows, wow, you look striking, but behind closed doors, you don't like what you've seen in the mirror. Right. This is why I still speak for those who hide in the dark. This is why I continue to hone in and embody my message.
Yes.
That's why I say I help people see themselves differently. This is why I help empower others to overcome their insecurities and fears. This is why I use my visual difference to make a difference, but most importantly, give other people a voice and power who don't see themselves, vitiligo or not. I just know that emotional mind could become a very dangerous mind.
My man James
because
McLeod.
I went on different mental journeys. Because vitiligo impact and affect your skin and your mental health differently. Not only I had this visual different, but I wore mental health most of the time on my face, my actions, my feelings, my emotion, how I see myself every single day. And a lot of time when we talk about mental health, they dismiss it because they think it's like a bad thing. It's not. It's our thoughts. It's our actions, our feelings. And it's okay to feel that way, but it's okay to do the work too, which is important.
Yeah, we have to do the work, control our thoughts, because our thoughts unchecked go rampant.
But I just know both sides. If I'm like this or like this doesn't really matter. It's all about what's inside. Because if the more you try to fix yourself and judge yourself, no matter what, you're gonna still have to do the work.
Yes.
And I speak for anybody who's aging, who have a scar, who has some insecurities about themselves. You don't like your buck teeth, your freckles. I speak for all.
Yes.
It's not just vitiligo.
Yeah.
I use the gift and the power, and I recognize it at such an early age to help others see it too. I'm on a serious mission, man.
I love it, man.
You know?
I love it.
Gotcha. So this book here is dearly to my heart. I didn't only write this book for myself. I wrote this book for the world. I was a little boy, who grew up with a skin condition called vitiligo. And, I was faced with bullying. I was faced with doubts. But now my mission is to help other people to overcome their insecurities and fears, no matter what they may be. And I just wrote something I wish I had when I was a kid. And one of these things about this book, we don't talk about vitiligo in this book. It's just a kid with representation. We talked all day on topic, too, as well, about representation, how huge it is to me, because I see myself through you guys, and I hope you see yourself through me. And one of the things with this book here, this book is geared towards a 3-year-old to a 103-year-old. And I'm not being biased about this book. This book will change your life when you read this book. I mean, it's just a simple message, just looking on the other side of the mirror. Most people can't even look in the mirror for 30 seconds, and that's just the truth. But I need you to look in that mirror. And when you do look in that mirror, don't fix yourself. Don't judge yourself. Look what's on the other side, because the longer you look in that mirror will show you love back. And if this is difficult, just know that's why this book really matters, The Boy Behind the Face. I promise you, how you treat yourself is how you be yourself. How you see yourself is going to set the tone, how you see yourself for the rest of your life. Do the work. Don't skip the process. This is my daily superpowers. This is another edition from this book. It's just a reminder. You're recognizing your power and what affirmations look like for you on your daily basis. My daily superpowers.
Brother, if somebody needs to contact you, look into the camera and tell them where to get you.
Absolutely. You can find me on all social media platforms at That Vitiligo Guy, which is spelled ThatVitiliGoguy, and that applies to the website as well.
This is the end of the episode. Ask Louis Omar anywhere, but I think this is gonna be the one. It's gonna be like a series. I think me and my man, we have a good chemistry.
That,
we keep chopping once a month and bring things up to date and see where we at. And I think we're gonna be doing some things. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely, we're gonna be doing some things. I got manifested. We're gonna be doing some things. It's the reason why we cross paths and connected, man.
It's the reason why we're here so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true too, man.
I agree.